Hi, I'm Harit Jaiswal. I'm from Electrical Engineering branch, and I did my intern at Huawei as a software engineer role. And right now, I have accepted job offer from NK Securities as a quantitative researcher.
So hi, I'm Siddharth Grover. I'm from Computer Science and Engineering Department, and I had my third year intern at Quadeye in a quant role, and thereafter I got a PPO from the same company in the same role.
Hi, this is Ayush. I'm from 2018 batch MNC branch, and I've been placed at Graviton, and my role is a quantitative researcher.
Quant is basically derived from quantitative trading, where they use computer programs to identify trading opportunities and make as much profit as they can. And a quantitative researcher basically analyzes the historical data of the stocks, and he deploys trading models and also researches new models so as to identify profit making opportunities. So that's what a quantitative researcher is.
So, in few words, the role of a quant is to design and maintain strategies that uh, uh, puts buy and sell orders in the market. That's the short version. And the long version is that if you do manual trading, then basically you have to judge that uh, when should I buy, how much should I buy or sell. So we just automate this process, and we do it such that the computer can sort of do put orders in in high frequency. So basically, uh, the strategy becomes much better than a manual a person. Yeah. So what the work is it's actually a model that is the strategy, and you have to sort of fit the model on past data and then deploy it in the live market.
Basically, the role of a quant is to devise and formulate mathematical models on the basis of the market trends and on the market, and try to predict how the market would go. So, in very naive terms, it's just like you can say it's like predicting what would be the outcome of the market based on maths and simple statistics, probability, etc.
Actually, I did not choose quant. I wanted to go into finance roles. I decided early on that I liked finance and I wanted to go into finance. During the early COVID months, I read a couple of books on personal finance, and I made a demat account and started investing in equity. So I thought that finance would be the best option for me. But during the placements, the test at NK Securities went the best. I got only the opportunity to interview there, so I then accepted the offer from there.
So I didn't really have a clarity on what I should do. There are a lot of options. As a CS undergrad, I had options of going into core CS, SDE, even consulting, or this HFT's quant or systems. So I didn't have a lot of interest in the implementation side of things. So I didn't really want to go in SDE roles, and I was also not super into core CS. So basically, I used to like logic and maths, and thereafter I got my intern in Quadeye in a control. So I liked what the work was. It was basically the work that we did wasn't really the work that I will be doing in a full time job, but it was something similar. So yeah, I it was a kind of research work. I had to fit models and then back test. So yeah, I like that work more than coding. So
From my childhood days, I've always been interested in maths, and in my second, third year, I dove into stock market, etc. So, and I really developed I was very intrigued by it, and the term Wall Street was always something that I was intrigued by. So I tried exploring it, and the skill set that it required matched my interest, you can say so. So that's why I tried to pursue it, and I asked my seniors how is the work, what exactly we have to do. I did some research, and then I realized that at least from now I want to pursue this, and I want to explore more of this field.
Coming to the pros, there is obviously the competitive salary package, and then if you're interested in stock markets like me, then you can easily learn and gain experience of the different trading models, and you can employ your own algorithmic trading models and invest your own money in the markets. Then there is the paid vacation and other kind of things in the quantitative trading firms. And obviously there is that they are hiring a lot of batchmates from IIT, so you will have a atmosphere of friendliness and all. You will know many people there, and the seniors also are very helpful and friendly there. So that's it. And coming to the cons, there is this infamous work-life balance and the condition of burnout after 1 or 2 years in quant firms. And I guess that is true for that may be true for all the trading firms. And I think that's the cons.
To the best of my knowledge, first let's do the cons. First is the infamous work-life balance. So yeah, the work-life balance is pretty bad in quant firms, and other con is like that actually depends on the person. So if you like traveling, you won't get to travel in a quant role. So uh, if you would like to settle outside, that's also not so easy directly after this undergrad. So for that you will have to do some further steps. So yeah, the cons are dependent on the person, and the pros. I mean, the pros are if you like mentally challenging stuff. So if you want to be intellectually involved in your job, then quant, I think, yeah, that's good. And other than that, yeah, compensation is a pro. And yeah, I mean, you are with like-minded people. Like, yeah, these Indian quant firms are hiring like from the same small group of people. So yeah, you'll be like along with people like you're in your college. So yeah, communication is very good. Like, yeah, I actually experienced that in my intern, that I was communicating with my seniors. It was just like I'm communicating to some friend in college. The language was also the same. So yeah, that's also pro.
I think the biggest thing about it is like it's not for everybody. So because you have to do a lot of mathematical work and the work hours are tend to be more than as compared to a software development role. So it is not for everybody, but for some people it can be a very interesting because you are predicting markets, you are actually making money to the firm, etc. So it can be very interesting to few people. So I guess there is pros, you can say a lot of, like, let's say money is generous in this field and it is very interesting. Cons, you can say it's like a bit taxing on your health, on your time, so it takes a chunk of your time, etc. Works can be a little repetitive. So I think these are the two main pros and cons of working as a quant.
So first of all, I have to say, like, I'm no competitive programmer, so I did not do it until the third year. So I knew I would be behind much of my more of my batchmates. So right after my intern ended in July, I started competitive coding, and the first test, however, were in October. So I had around 3 months to prepare for that. So for competitive coding, there is the standard geeks for theory, and then you can practice on interview bit, where they bucket the questions into different categories of DP, lead code, etc. And then there is lead code, where you can keep grinding the questions and perfect your skills. And that was it for me for the coding part. Initially, I would like to advise that initially, if you can't do even the tough questions, you can take them as a learning opportunity. That was the case for me. Not until the end of the October month, when the test had started, then I discovered that I could really solve questions on my own. Till then, I was referring to the solutions only, and late until that, I was able to solve complex problems on my own. Coming to the quant part, my strategy was doing all the questions that an interviewer can ask, so that on the interview day I do not fluster or I do not skip any question. So there is the standard books for quant preparation, which the interviewers also ask from those only. So one is the Brainsteller. It is a site which has a good quality collection of questions. Another is a collection of quant riddles and answers. It is also a website. Then there are two books, 50 Challenging Problems in Probability and Heard on the Street. So I completed all these books. I read them more than once, so that I am thorough in all the quant questions. I do not skip any questions, and that really did help me on the interview day.
I think the usual stuff is okay. In a lot of interviews, they mostly ask probability and puzzles. So for that, there are a lot of resources, like a lot. So there are a lot of websites, books. What I personally did was I did Brainstellar. It's a website, and Zinfing Zoo. It's a textbook by this person. I did these two things. That's it. And other than that, it's just like basic logic. So it's nothing like you have to do a lot of stuff. You just practice some of it and you get the hang of it. And other than that, they can also ask you some algorithms. They don't. I haven't been asked to code in any of the interviews. I've had I think 7 quant interviews in total. So yeah, I haven't been asked to code, but yeah, they can ask algorithms. That too, basic stuff like DP, greedy. Yeah. So the courses that are important are Call 106, MTL 106, and Call 351, which I found the most relevant for the coding part. For the probability and this puzzles part, I didn't find any course too relevant. I mean, MTL 106 can be relevant if the interviewer asks you some very theoretical questions, not very, very practical questions, but very theoretical questions. So then MTL 1, but I was asked such questions in only one of the interviews. So yeah, MTL 106 is good too.
I think I did. So I think it took me around 3 months, I guess. First 2 months, my preparation was a bit like I was studying for the courses, and I was not devoting much time to it for the first 2 months. And in the last month, I devoted proper time to this, like every day, 2-3 hours, I guess, for a month, and that was enough. I think there are very standard textbooks, like on websites like Brainstellar.com is a very standard thing to start on. So it gives you a good basic. And there is one more book which I really like is 50 problems in probability, 50 challenging problems in probability, if I'm saying it wrong correctly. So basically, these are the two main books that I really like. Apart from that, there are a lot of books and there are a lot of questions that you can find on internet. But the thing that helped me most with the interview was these two books. I did these two books repetitively. I think I did these two books 2-3 times repetitively, because it developed a base for me and it boosted up my confidence. The problems in these books are not too tough or not too hard or not too easy, but I think they are the perfect. And after this, you can move on to more difficult books like 40 problems and 20 problems. There are a lot of resources that you can find on the internet. I think the most relevant courses MTL 106, probability and stochastic processes, because it builds up the basic understanding. And other courses are relevant, but it's not exactly the questions that they ask is not exactly from the course itself. The question that they ask or the problem that they ask may have some induction in it, mathematical induction. You can say it's from discrete mathematics, but it's not exactly they do not ask questions from the course itself. You have to improvise it. You have to understand the concept and improvise it and apply that logic to that question. So it's not really straightforward, but yeah, MPL 106, some sort of discrete mathematics helps, I guess. And the mathematics of 11th, 12th also helps a lot, because I guess the most of the questions that they ask me personally, like the maths of class 12th up to class 11th, 12th, was good enough to answer those. Only probability was a concept that they required, that college level education. Apart from that, it was it was basic, but it was not easy. So relevant projects, I guess, machine learning always helps. some projects in machine learning and data analysis. So we have to do the same things in machine learning, uh, especially for a researcher. So I guess machine learning data projects are are a good start. Uh, I guess you have to do those in jobs. So I guess those are the relevant projects. And apart from that, uh, I guess some algorithms based project is good. Development in this field, we do not really do development, but some development of we do development of algorithms. So some project based on algorithms and some project based on machine learning are like good, like they help you in the job.
Really good, no. I don't think most people are who go into quant. Yeah, so you have to know like the basic stuff, the basic algorithms, or even if you don't prepare for it, from what you learn from courses, even that is enough.
Not exactly. So basically, some firms ask some sort of competitive coding or coding questions, but some firms do not ask this at all. They just ask mathematical puzzles and probabilistic puzzles and let's say brain teasers. So basically, they want to judge your IQ, your mathematical IQ, how you think, etc., etc. So basically, I don't think CP is much required for a traditional control, but some firms can ask one or two questions.
Compared to CG criteria, if you would look at historically all the data of the persons who are selected into quants, you can maybe inclined to think that the high CG people are only there. But I also haven't seen any person with less than 8 CG. So I guess I would recommend that for any junior to maintain a CG above 8. So you will have a good chance of getting into quant firms. And coming to CV, actually they did not ask any question from my CV in the quant interviews. So I think that the CV may not be such a major point, but nevertheless you should maintain a good number of projects in your CV so that it does not look empty. Even if they don't ask the questions, you should thoroughly revise what were the projects there for your interviews.
So CG criteria, I think there is, because like I don't know any person with CG less than 8.5, I think, in a quant role. So I think, yeah, CG criteria is there. So to be honest, I didn't find any of the projects relevant. So in none of the interviews they asked me about a specific, like they asked me about, okay, what did you tell me in 5 minutes, but they didn't really dwell into it. So projects don't really matter. I think the scholastic achievements, they like I think they're only looking for aptitude. So they look for CG, scholastic achievements, and yeah, and what you do in the interview. So I don't think the projects matter, but it's not like they shouldn't be there. Yeah, it's like good to have, but not enough.
Some firms, I think they require they shortlist on the basis of CG, 8, 8.5 plus. Some firms do that, but some firms are also there that do not at all care about your CG. For example, some firms in India, like traditional, the Graviton and Quadeye, etc. They require a certain level of CG. Also, they require your branch to be of um, CS, MNC, electrical. But some firms like Da Vinci and Amsterdam firms, that basically they are based outside, they don't have a CG criteria at all. Um, you just need to have a degree and you can be of any branches. So yeah, so it depends upon the branch. I guess CG, if for some firms CG is the only relevant point, and basically they look at what you have done and what projects you have done, and they ask very few basic questions about it, because actually the thing is, whatever you have done, if it's not from the financial background, then it's not really relevant to what you would be doing at a quant, at your job. So basically I think the most important part of your CV is your preparation. It's not like they do not look at very specific points and say like, yeah, it's good or it matters much, unless it's from like typical financial. a typical finance project you have done, or typical something you have done for some companies?
So as I said that early, that I decided early on I wanted to go in finance, but I got an internship opportunity in software. So for that, I at that time I accepted, but I knew that I had to enter into finance. So I started doing quant prep also along with the software development. The quant roles are in such a case more brutal, you can say, compared to SD, because you have to be good at competitive programming and you have to be good at logical puzzles and maths. So if a second year or third year student is planning to venture out into quant firms, he has to maintain a double-edged sword and sharpen your skills in both the cases, both the fields. Among my peers, I would say that during the interview also this thing helped me, that since I had done so much preparation of quant and logical puzzles, and during the interview also they asked me, out of the 6 questions they asked, 5 were from the one of the books that I mentioned earlier. So I was able to directly answer in a very less time the 5 of the questions. So I think they were really impressed for that, and commended me there on the spot also. So I think that would be a point which would reflect as my plus point in the interview.
I think first thing is my performance in the interview. Second is my since I had a PPO from Quadeye, my work in the internship, and after that we had a proper placement type of 4 rounds of interview for PPO. So yeah, in that they did ask me my work in the internship, and also the normal placement interview type of thing, the normal technical round. So what made me stand out was, I think, my performance in interviews, and other than that, my like CGPA, I guess, and probably JEAR.
So first for the technical round, for the quant role, they mainly asked me the quantitative puzzles. As I said, they asked me 6 puzzles, and I was able to do all of them due to the fact that I had done so much. I had literally taken down the books and did all the questions. So that's why I remembered most of the questions that they were asking. And later in the round two, I had a round of algorithms and dynamic programming round. So they basically made a question like a reading comprehension, and asked me to make an algorithm for this. The question was to prepare an order book and maintain orders and execute buy and sell orders. So I had to use data structures that were the most efficient, and devise an algorithm to retrieve the queries of buy and sell. So that was for that. I think your course data structure and algorithms called 106 and called 351 analysis and design of algorithms would be more than sufficient for that round. You don't need to do anything else for that part. And final round was HR round, which is pretty standard HR. So that's it.
I applied off campus, and there was a senior of mine. He referred me to that role. So I had 3 interviews. 3 of the interviews were similar. Like um, first, all of them were on Zoom. So basically, they actually saw my CG and then shortlisted me. Uh, saw my CV and shortlisted me, and then they asked me, first of all they asked me my name and some smaller things, and then they straight on move on to the questions. So it was a 1 hour, all 3 were 1 hour interviews. So first they asked me the questions, like the questions were tough, and like they wanted, I think, in control you have to explain yourself how you are approaching the question. So it's not really simple. They give you a question and you just answer it. You have to explain it, like how, like you have seen the problem, assuming it's new to you, how you're approaching, what are the key points that you are considering, how you're, like what is your workflow key. This is point A, then I'll try to do this. Then, if this happens, I'll do this, and this happens, I'll do this. So you have to explain your complete thought process to the um, um, to the interviewer. So you're not expected, you're not like they are not really looking for a correct answer. They are looking for the right approach. So even if you answer the correct answer, you have to explain yourself correctly, like um, this this happened, then I went on to do this, then I'll do this. And you have to speak out loud, what are you thinking, what are your thoughts. Also, it is okay if you went on a path and like deviated. So this is very also important. They also check that if you went on a wrong path, how are you tracing back? What assumption that you have led, what assumption that you took was wrong, etc., etc. So I guess this is the most important part of the interview. Like they are not looking for the right answer; they are looking for the right approach. Also, they give you hints. Actually, it's not like they do not leave you aside. They give you a little bit of hints, like you are thinking this way, think that way, and this helps also. So basically, the most important part of the interview is speaking out loud, communicating with the interviewer, and like basically thinking in a structured manner. In a structured manner is important, and backtracking is also important. If you went on a wrong path, then backtrack until you get the assumption that led you to the wrong conclusion. So yeah, this is the most important part of it.
So, exit options in trading firms. I have very little knowledge related to the exit options, but I think that you can venture out into different quant firms, or inside quant firms only. You can go to trading roles or high frequency software development roles inside quant firms. Coming if you want, but most of the popular thing is that the people in quant firms usually burn out after 2 or 3 years of working there, so they want a career change. As was, I think that will be the case for me. So I have planned this earlier, and gave the GMAT exam recently, and I plan to do an MBA in the future and completely change my career from quant away from quant. So I think that would be my option.
Exit options, I think, as a quant, the exit options are like not like there are only a few exit options. You can either go for higher studies, or you can like transfer to manual trading, like switch into another firm and do manual trading, or you can just get hired as an ML engineer, because in a quant role you'll be just fitting models and applying it to new data. So that's very similar to what ML engineer does. So you can do that, or even you can switch to product companies or a SDE role, but that's sort of uncommon, because I mean SDE roles are uncommon because in quant you don't really get in touch with SDE, and when you start after, say, after you switch after 2 years or 1 year, you're behind your batch. So basically the person who has done SDE will be preferred. So you have to start from the beginning, but you still can. Like I'm in the boat that's relying on afterwards. So I don't know. It's basically if I like the work at Quant in a quant, because I did internship, but it was not exactly the work I would do, because in these companies they protect their IP very much. So basically they didn't even tell us the models that they use, or they tested us on very basic stuff. So yeah, my plan is to first see if I am okay with the work I'm doing, with the work-life balance, or am I liking it. And if I do, then probably I'll continue, and then maybe I'll look for options for masters, or switch into some other role. Yeah.
I guess the quantitative researcher role is a high risk, high reward, role. So basically, you have to work a lot, but especially just after graduating, I wanted to explore things. I wanted to work more. So I guess it's a good role for me. After this, I guess all options are available to me. If I want, I can go on and went to do a master's in science, or master's in computer science, mathematics or computer science, or whatever I want. I can also move on to some foreign HFTs or foreign trading roles if I want to. If I want to shift to a different role, I can also move on to a software role in a different company or in an established firm. If I want to move on to software, I can also establish a startup of mine in the same field, or in another field. Also, I can pursue an MBA. So like the options are exit options. It's not like it's a dead end job. It's exit options are there are a lot of exit options available. Also, the capital that this job provides, if you save well, then that only helps, because if you want to move for masters, that requires a lot of capital. So if you save good enough money in this job, then you can move on. Then your options are more diverse. It's not restricted in a sense.
Do not go after solving a lot of questions, like gazillion questions. Like you can solve a few coding problems, but understand the concept behind them, so that if they ask you in the interview and they literally twist it, you are able to answer that. And I think you should be clear of what you want to do, and start in your third year. Start deciding early on that do you want to go for software development consultancy or the controls. So that would be it. One thing I found very helpful, that I did mock interview practice with one of my batchmates, which really helped me to think out clearly and explain problems to some layman. So in layman terms, so I think you could any junior can try that with his or her friends. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll touch upon the point that I mentioned a while back. It's like, first be sure what you really want, because like there are different things. So what do you actually want to do in life? Uh, what kind of work do you want to do? Where do you want to settle? What work-life balance are you looking at? Do you want to meet new people? Do you want to travel? Like all these things. What are your preferences? Then you, if you get that down right now, then I think you can shape your career in a way that those can be achieved easily. They can even be achieved afterwards, but easily if you do it now.
So the thing that I found very interesting was, especially when I started preparing for Quant, I thought kuch nahi ho raha. I thought this is too difficult. I was not able to solve 1 to easy level or 1 to medium level questions. Most of the middle level questions I was not able to solve in the first go. So it was a bit discouraging, to be honest. So I guess the idea of, but after that, I stuck on this. Like it's after I got stuck on this, like I repeated it 2 3 times. So it became intuitive for me. After all, I think preparing for quant is like practicing maths. It's all about practice, and I guess you would see yourself improve after some stage. Like if you practice enough questions, and like if you move on to new books or new questions, you would see yourself improve if you are taking the right approach. And uh, at some stage, like I was interviewing for one of the firms, and I thought my preparation was good, but I was not selected. Then I realized, then I went back on and did the whole thing again. I started practicing from the scratch. Then I realized ki no, like there was some gaps in my preparation that I ignored in my first attempt, like in the form that I was giving for. So, and after this, you will see yourself improve, and you would keep on improving, and then you would hit a stage that you would feel like, yeah, like you can do this, and like question would seem intuitive. You would enjoy doing this. So I guess, and I think what I've learned in quant, you need a bit of patience and practice, and it's not really that difficult to crack it. Just you have to be patient and practice and practice. So yeah, I guess that's it. It's not really something very difficult.
Does matter, but it's not like there are not outliers, I think, because I've seen like most of the people are from CS, maths, or electrical, but I've seen a few people from mechanical in the company.
For some firms it matters. For some firms, like they ask, they generally consider CS, MNC, and electrical people only. But some firms again don't. Also, I think one of the things that matter is your financial knowledge, your financial interest. So I was also interviewing for some other firm. They asked me about my financial interest and why you dove into this in spite of my branch, etc. So I guess, yeah, so it all depends on the firm that you are looking. So I guess there are more firms for CS, MNC, electrical people, but like there are also firms for like non CSMNC people that you can pursue.
Like first thing is, be sure if you want to see yourself as a quant or not. That's the first thing. If you want to, then probably start preparing for the interview, because I think that's what matters a lot. And it's not like you need to prepare for a year. It's just 2 to 3 months, I think. So yeah, just like if you enjoy problem solving, then you don't even have to prepare. You just do it. That was the case with me. So yeah, except that none of the financial knowledge is required for any internship or any hiring or even full time. So none of the financial knowledge is important. Yeah. So just do your courses, maintain your grade, and do some problems here and there.
If you land if in your third year itself you land a role at a trading for an HFT, I guess you can, if you perform well, they might offer you a PPO. So basically you can directly get a job there. If that's not the case, then I guess they would ask you about, like one of the firms asked me about what was your experience, like what was your experience there, what did you did there. They're basically looking not exactly for the role that you did, but what did you learn from it, what did you think about it, like like तुमने क्या सोचा, what was the outcome of your basically intern, and what would be the feedback of your seniors. One of the firms asked me in an HR interview, what was your like impression, like what would the seniors say about you if you ask them, and what was your biggest mistake. Also give us an example of constructive feedback that your intern, like that your team gives basically. So the work that you did, I guess, either it doesn't matter at all, the second year intern, or if they ask it, they generally don't consider it like where you did it or what kya kiya, but what was the work that you did, how much you remember it. I guess that's the thing they ask. Okay.